So, that answers all the questions. Questions like, why was the roof separated from the rim, which made us replace it? And why was the C-pillar door catch almost ripped out? I knew it wasn't going to be a show pony when I bought this, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. So now the question is, how far do we go with this? But it's got to be safe because obviously you've got the family in it. So today's the day, been looking forward to this, getting this sorted out. You can buy these and they're about 100 and something quid, but it's only the fascia that's rotten and a bit at the top and perhaps a little bit on the inside. But I think if I remove this I can get it sorted. And that's affecting the whole rigidity of the body. So I think we can get this sorted. I've got some steel, so what I'm going to try and do is use this piece to replace this piece. See if we can knit it all back together again and make it all beautiful. So without further ado, see if we can get this sorted out for free. I got this for free, so let's see what we can do with it. To get to this point, remove all the rivets marked in red, then take off the triangular shaped thing, and then it's a matter of 2 bolts on the inside of the C-pillar, and then the C-pillar just lifts out. And there it was, gone, as the Welsh would say. So I think we can make a new one of these, remake that shape there. I might have a look at a few pictures online, see if they match up to what I think this looks like. So looking online, it does look like they just mirror each other, these little lips that come out. For a pair of them it's 195 quid, 200 quid. So what we're going to do is we'll put the corner of this in the corner here. It'll come up here, it'll sit in this trough, so what we're going to do is draw around the outside onto this and then cut it out that way. So if you see there, try and keep that tight. Don't mind if it's over, but we just don't want it to be under. And then with a tracer pen. Most of this is rotted out, so I drew around what I could and then joined it up with a straight edge after. So that's the shape we're going to go with. Let's just cut that out. Here I'm just applying what they call weld-through primer. It's a primer, a paint, that's conductive. So when you weld through it, it still protects the remaining metalwork that hasn't been welded. This is what it looks like now. I need to weld a tab on here and then onto the chassis rail and then fold that arm down at the back that I've put on and then weld that to the chassis as well, and the same on the front, just tack that on here. And then, if you look at that, that's very nicely finished. We're just going to rivet all this in place now, and then hopefully when I pull all the arm in and bolt it down and rivet it, weld it in, it stays together. We should then have a sturdier side. So another thing about this thing that needs sorting out is when you grab the door frame, it all moves. I can't show you on camera because when I move, the camera moves, so the whole side of the car shakes, like it's all loose. So these things that I've just shown you on screen now needs re-riveting, but in order to do that we need some pressure on the outside. I'm going to pass this strap in around the outside, through the window, through the middle and join back again in the middle here, and then when I ratchet it in, it's going to bring these sides in. That will allow me to re-rivet the inside. I'm going to do the other side and then we're going to take this off and do this side again. So it turns out I forgot to press record on the camera when I did this. All I did was ratchet strap the sides in, drilled and riveted the uprights, and then released his pressure again. I think that's a win. This is the near side section and I think that's a bit too far gone to be saving that. So I'll either buy a bottom section. It looks like it's been repaired in the past, or the weld on that. So I think I'll replace the whole thing and get done with it. Once again, it's now pissing down. So, just to keep this camera safe and all the electrics that I use outside, I'll have to shut down for today, but cut to tomorrow and hopefully it's not as wet. And now it's Sunday. Welcome back to a more dry day. Because we repaired this yesterday, and the other side needs replacing, what we're going to do, I've got this whole section here. I've got that section, and then underneath there'll be another cross member going underneath this. Because all this floor is corroded and you can see through it, I'm going to replace that and the cross member. But first, I've got to clear this out and find somewhere to put it all. Right, next job is taking this check plate up. So it's just riveted on all round. So we'll get that up, and then we'll have a look at what state the floor's out underneath it, and then try and get that seating edge up, and then we'll go from there. It's up now. I think the actual original floor might have to come up, because it comes down, so you've got the strip across the front, and then this goes into it, so there's like quarters exposed, so it's a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to drill all the rivets out, grind the bolts off, because I'm going to replace them all anyway, so if they don't come out willingly, they come out by force. So before I started this, I didn't know that these rivets were steel, and they're classed as structural. So if you do this job, make sure you replace them with steel structural rivets. So it was only once the floor came up, it became apparent just how bad this Land Rover actually was. And if you can't tell by the tone in my voice, I wasn't expecting it. But I did learn something new in the process. It turns out you can weld, or spot weld, aluminium to steel. Who knew? This and the brace that used to be behind it. That is a snap chassis. You can see it from the top. So a bit of transparency here. I bought this blind from a guy in Birmingham on Marketplace. He told me that there was something wrong with the chassis, but he didn't tell me how bad it was. And I'd seen scabby bits here and there, and he assumed that was it, and that the cross member was out. I didn't see this bit. Right. I don't know. So the option is we either repair it, which is going to take a lot of graft, or for even more graft, we get a second-hand 200 CDI Defender chassis to get through this year until I can do the bulkhead and the chassis, because it's about £8 and a fuck ton of time, which I don't have. So it's either repair it, which is the fastest way to do it, replace it with a second-hand one, which is cheap and more long-winded, or that's it, it's over. So it's going to be A or B, one of them two, I think. All week I've been thinking about what do we do with it. Do we repair it? Do I scrap it and get a new chassis? Do I get another chassis that needs repairs and cut that section out and weld it into this one? I exhausted the list mentally. Looked all over eBay, Marketplace. Couldn't find a chassis near me, and anyone that did have one wanted like 700 or 800 quid for it. I've got some steel, so I'm going to try and like kind of magic it back together again. If it gets to the point where it's too bad, then I'm going to have to call it. But today is all about cutting it back, seeing if we can get any sections out. There are chips of doing so, which have been made a little bit harder because Rob's got his Land Rover D2 down there, which is supposed to be just there for a repair and getting rid of, but it's been on the end of the drive here for about 6 months. So we're hoping that that gets gone and we've got more room. But for now, I'm having to work on the drive, so it's going to be a bit more confined for this next 2 videos, so you have to bear with. I apologise in advance as well, because most of this video is probably going to be voiceovers, apart from when I'm showing you little bits in between the work. Reason being, it's going to be I'm going to be working in here a lot of the time, and it's going to be loud, so I'm going to have headphones in, because you know I wear all the PPE. Safety squint. So this is where the planning starts. If I cut through anything on this chassis, I risk snapping it, warping it, or moving it out of position, so then when I do weld it, it's in the wrong position. What I've decided I'm going to do is find 2 good positions, one on either end of the chassis, and then going to weld a brace across it to keep it in the same position. And then I'm going to actually stand underneath to keep it in the right position vertically. This way it can't move forward or back, up or down. And we should be okay to place it. From there to there, that whole side's going to get done. Like I said, this is only going to last us a year, 2 max, until we can get the gal chassis for it. I don't think it's going to be the worst, because I think most of this side is good to about here. I don't want to do 2 welds in the same place, because then it's a good weakness spot then, isn't it? So if we can stagger it, I think it might be better. We've got all the electrics in this side, we've got the fuel lines, don't know what that is, but somebody else put that in. And we've got the brake lines here as well, so you've got to be careful with that side. This guy, then we've got the cross member to put back in as well, which will add, it'll add more stability across there. I don't even know what they're for, you know, I think it's just a bit of stability for the rear axle, because it sits on there. Got the steel bar on, it's just to keep it all at the same length so it doesn't move. Obviously welded at this end, which is a good end. Cut a piece of metal, 750mm, and these are 190mm deep, the chassis. So that's going to be 190mm from that line all the way across. Cut both sides, and then that should be the profile of the chassis. Just before I cut this, and I said it was 190mm from that point to that point. It is in certain places. So this between there and there is 190mm, but then here it comes up to like 140. So you can't just cut it. What you're going to have to do is cut at least the top or bottom profile, offer it up, and then trace the top profile, and then you'll get your true shape. So that's what we're going to do. So to get this profile, what I've done is I've butted it up against furthest surface away from where I want it. And I've measured the distance between this point and this, which is 25mm. Measured 25mm from there to there, there to there, to give us a straight line. And then I marked where the bends are, there and there. So when I cut this out, this will form nicely into this, in theory. This marks day 1 of 3 of fabrication. I started off by measuring, drawing it up, cutting it out, more offering up and more cutting out before tack welding it in position, ready for the full weld. And I don't think it turned out too bad. I've had to leave the top as it is because it didn't have a profile due to all the previous shoddy repairs. And that was an inside chassis rail done. I've done heavy welds because it's a chassis, not a beauty contest, and it needs to be strong. So on day 2, well, I think it's quite explanatory. It was full of mud. This is one of the reasons why it's rotted as bad as it has. When you off-road these things, you're supposed to rinse the chassis rails out and then give them a coat of wax inside, like I did on the door video linked above. If you don't do that, then it holds the moisture in the mud and rusts from the inside out. As I said previously, this side's got cables, fuel lines and brake lines, so I had to be careful. But being the Neanderthal that I am, I cut through the wiring. So that's another job for tomorrow. Where's that tapping stick gone?
Tapping stick's gone. Holy shit. I skinned it before.
Yeah. See that fold I was telling you about? So when it snapped, it absolutely folded itself, so that was originally like that. I'd say it's a bit chewed. And to make up for yesterday's blunder, I extended the cables a little bit because they were very tight and I didn't want any stress on them. Every little helps. So today I've got birthday boy, Philip, who's now 85, bless him. He's going to do his some repair panels while I'm doing the chopping out in there. They got 'em. So I completely forgot to film an outro to this video. If you got this far, thanks for watching, massively appreciated. If you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe. See you in the next one. How does it feel to be as old as you are, Dad?
Better than being dead.
But only see the future.